This video is in response to a call that Lengthy and Arthur put out about getting together. At least this is how I interpreted his video, getting together and really coming up with the logical, true causes of the high cost of healthcare. I'll put a link, or I'll try to eventually put a link below to Lengthy and Arthur's two videos that he has so far. I believe one is health supply and the other is demand, which basic primary laws of economics there. Okay, now what I want to talk about in mine, and I'm gonna get to the point as quick as I can, has to do with support. And what is support in economics? Support is that somebody will pay for it. Let's say I offer a dozen eggs for $10, okay? Somebody buys it for $10. That is evidence of market support for that item's value. And Lengthy and Arthur got into that a little bit as it pertained to both supply and demand. But what I'm going to do, I got to cherry pick a couple of things that he discussed. If you want to catch them videos, they are long, but very much worth watching. In that, we talked about the baby boomers and the other retirees who are very much partakers in the healthcare industry. Now, what I would like to talk about is when they were of working age and they were actually working, the tasks that they performed within the economy, on average, were more valuable to the globe than what we perform today on average. Therefore, their labor in their context was more valuable. So these retiree people who are partaking in the healthcare industry are wealthier than we are. Now, that is a broad stroke, but let me give you the example. My grandma's husband, he used to work for General Motors, and he and I, we have a little bit in common in that. You know, we both worked for GM. Like, he literally worked for Delco, and I worked for a General Motors dealership. But he's like, yeah, I used to make spark plugs. And, here I am thinking, oh, this was the 50s and 60s. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, you put them together, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, we'd get them on the lathe, and they were, like, machining out spark plugs individually. Okay, like, spinning the metal, making the hole. I mean, like, he was making spark plugs, man. Like, from scratch. So the value of what he does and his particular skill versus what I do is very, very different. Not to put too fine a point or to diminish what an auto mechanic does these days, but pretty much I'm putting round pegs in round holes all day long, or square pegs in square holes, and we got to figure out and make sure, oh gosh, why is the car trying to put this square peg in a wrong hole, And that's by and large a lot of what our local American economy in the service sector has become. Because the service industry is not as valuable as production industry by and large, okay? It's not as innovative, and the entry skill isn't quite the same. So, back to these people who had these jobs in the 50s and 60s that were very valuable to the world. To pick a term from Dr. Jim, these people had the luxury also of living in a world that was destroyed. The only country that didn't have its infrastructure damn near gutted was America. Germany was destroyed. Japan was destroyed. Europe was a mess. England. So the only people able to make stuff, the only people with undamaged industry was America. So these people worked, and they worked well, and they worked skillfully, deservingly, and they ended up very wealthy people by any standard you want to look at it. So wealthy that they only had to work at a task for 20 years, and they made so much and so much wealth within those 20 years that they could spend the next 30 or 40 not working. Okay? That's wealthy, people. And this wealth is what is partaking in the healthcare industry, by and large, all right? So they have the money to get this stuff done. So that increases the support for these costs, further fortifying the overall cost of healthcare. Now, you also have third-party payers, which a third-party payer such as insurance or something like that, where the cost is spread out over multiple people. Third-party insurance has allowed the rest of us to participate in this market as well, because we couldn't have afforded it on our own the way that these other people could. Now, the flip side to that coin is people are usually less responsible with other people's property than they are with their own. So if they know that a mistake or an overpayment ends up being absorbed over multiple people, the end result, the actual punishment or the consequence for a mistake is diminished on an individual level. So if that mistake wasn't able to be diminished in such a way, then I think you would have a very different circumstance. So that is my point on market support for the healthcare costs. Anybody has anything to add? Please feel free. Again, we are trying to logically give real reasons why healthcare is expensive, and in an attempt to bring a true and logical solution to this whole healthcare lawyer in, lawyer out shit we got going on right now. Excuse my language. So, we'll see y'all soon, and thank you very much for your time. And check out Lengthy and Arthur.